I'm going to walk you through how to do a running record, the basic notations that you can make in a running record today using this packing script, which you already have access to from Google Classroom. There are many reasons why people use running records. We credit this type of assessment to Marie Clay of Reading Recovery fame, and she would use this, and we recommend using this to track students' reading behaviors. So you get a like a snapshot of how a student is reading and their behaviors while they're reading. So there are some specific markings that we can use to keep track of that, and we'll go into more detail into how you evaluate and how you do quantitative and qualitative analysis of these in class. But this is just to help you practice doing the marking. So you should have your cheat sheet with you just to keep track of what the different markings are. The first marking we use is to show a correct response, a correct word read by a child. And for that we write a check. Let me lower this down so you can see. A check. And that's for a correct response. So if the word is packing and the child says packing, you would put a check mark over the word. For every word that they say correctly, you put a check mark over it. The typical annotation for running records is a fraction format where you would have the reader behavior on top and the text behavior on the bottom. You can have a script like we have here, but once you get good at these, once you've practiced a bunch or done a bunch of them, you won't need a script anymore. You'll be able to just listen to a child read and make notes on a blank piece of paper. You do want to make sure that you have a piece of paper to write your notations on, a pencil to write your notations on. Don't use a pen because you need to be able to correct things by erasing instead of scribbling things out, because they can get really messy if you're scribbling. And if you don't have the script, it's a good thing to take a picture of the text that the child is using so that you can refer back and see what types of errors they're making and such. Okay, so this is what you're going to do for each correct marking. Make a check. So if the child reads, for this first line, I want you to mark it. If they read, I am packing my pajamas, go ahead and mark that first line how you would mark it. If the child reads, I am packing my pajamas. Okay, so you would mark, I am packing my pajamas. There, that shows that better. Okay. All right. That's the first type of behavior you'll mark. Another type of behavior is a substitution. That's when a child says a word other than the word in the text. So if a child, instead of saying packing, if a child says pushing, let's say, you would write pushing on the top of the fraction format over the word that goes in the text. So that's a substitution, and that is an error. You put the child's word over the correct word. So let's add, we're going to do, for the second line, we'll do some correct words and we'll do a substitution. So the child reads, I am packing my brush. Go ahead and mark that second line. So it should be, I am packing my brush. That shows the child said brush instead of hairbrush, and probably there was a picture where there was a brush. The child's obviously not paying attention to the H at the beginning of the word. All right, so that's a substitution, which is one type of error. The next type of reader behavior I'll show you is a deletion. And this is just when a child does not say a word, does not read a word. So for a deletion, you would write, let's say the word is packing again. they don't say it, and so you would write a line over it just to show that they didn't say anything. So for this next line, let's try a deletion. We'll have a deletion, a substitution, and some correct words in this line. So the child reads, I am packing toothbrushes. No, mark yours. I am packing toothbrushes. So this is a deletion or an omission. That's what we typically call it. So you would mark, I am packing, omission, toothbrushes, which would be grammatically correct without that my. Well, I guess with the my it would have been grammatically correct too. It's incorrect. Add the es at the end, the is. I am packing toothbrushes. Okay, so we have a correct, we have a substitution, we have an omission. Now let's try an insertion. Sometimes a child will add a word to the reading, especially when they get really excited about it. Sometimes they'll do that. So if a child adds a word to the reading, you can either add it with a caret. So if they added my, you could add it with a caret, or you could add it with the fraction format, meaning there's no word in the text, but they said my. Okay? So in this next line, we have some correct words and we have an insertion. I am packing my red pillow. Mark down what you think that would be. Okay. I am packing my, I do the caret because it's just easier for me, red pillow. So that shows the insertion. The next type of reader behavior we'll learn to mark is a repetition. Now if a child repeats, okay, so also substitutions, omissions, and insertions are considered errors. Those disrupt the accuracy of your child's reading. A repetition, it depends on who you ask, but most agree that a repetition is not an error. It's not counted as an error in a running record because it's used more as a strategy to help kiddos in their processing of text. Okay, so there are times when you would mark a repetition as an error if you are most fluency. If a child is having mainly an issue with reading that is because of their accuracy level or their smoothness of reading, and but in the case of a typical running record, you're not going to count a repetition as an error. So there are some different ways that we mark a repetition. Whichever ways that you choose, like if you choose a caret or this way, you just want to be consistent across your running record so that you know what you meant did it. So for a repetition, if the child, the word is packing, and just repeat that one word, then you're going to say put a R after the word because they said packing twice. If they do it a lot, you can put, they said it four times, like that if you're having a lot of problems. If the child is going to repeats more than one word, then you're gonna write the R, but make a hug with an arrow over the words that were repeated. So let's try that next line. The child reads, I am packing my mics. So mark that in the next line. I am packing my mics. So it should be I am packing. Repeat to mark my books. The way we mark that. Okay. In the next line, I'll show you a lot of time it's something we want kids is to monitor their comprehension. And one way we can tell that they're monitoring their comprehension is correct their reading. So they're reading along, la 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 la, and then they change what they said because they realized it didn't make sense. That's a great thing. We like to see that because it shows they're being metacognitive. It shows they're monitoring their reading. So if a child self-corrects after the word, let's say instead of packing, the child says park, and then they realize it's packing, you would put an SC. Another way sometimes people will write that is that they will write a line here and put an SC. Okay, so both of those can mean self-correct. I use the circle one because that's just the way I've always done it. And it stands out to me that way. I can see the circle when I'm going back over more easily than I see that. Okay, so let's try a self-correct. So this will include correct words, a substitution, a self-correct, and a repeat. So the sentence is, I am packing my bear, my teddy. I am packing my bear, my teddy. So it'll be, I am packing my bear, my teddy. So they're repeating these words and self-correct bear. Okay? And then for the last line, we will include a self-correct. Wait, let's see. We'll include correct words, we'll include substitution, we'll include a self-correct, and a omission. Okay, are you ready? For the last line, we will mark, I am going to my friends. I am going to my friends. So it would be marked, I am going to my friends. And that's how you would mark it.